Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. We welcome in now former BYU sharpshooter, European basketball star Jonathan Tavernari, and we have grown accustomed to loving his bombastic takes. And I will say this, Jonathan, I thought this morning, do we owe JT an apology after putting him in timeout because of the San Francisco loss because of what BYU did against Gonzaga, which you said they would do if they were healthy? And JT, they weren't even healthy. Dalton Nixon didn't play, and they still beat the Zags.
But to kind of counter that, Gavin was there, which was unexpected, and nobody had an idea. By no way, shape, or form, this is a knock on Dalton or on Gavin, but Gavin doesn't have the experience that Dalton has. And what a season he's having. What a senior season Dalton's having. And so that senior experience, leadership, taking charges, being the glue guy, and so forth, those are things that Gavin will get it. It's just not there yet right now. Nevertheless, I thought that, Gavin scoring his first couple of points, actually had 4 or 6 points, I believe. Rebounds, just being in the lane. I thought everybody stepped up. Obviously everybody's going to talk about Jake and TJ and Yoli, but I really felt that Kobe had an amazing game.
Zach Celius.
Zach. Alex was really good. Alex, he's doing all the little things so that TJ and Jake can kind of just take that extra step to just take it over in offense. But Alex, a lot of times on defense, he's right there in the rotation. He is doing the little things and taking the ball and also knocking down some really big shots. And so Connor Harding's also a part of that. But what amazes me the most is, and out of all of this, is I'm really, really surprised with Kobe's progress. In the beginning of the season, Mark Pope even said, Kobe's going to be a pro. Just watch. He's going to be a big-time player for us. And the 7-footer, the big man for Gonzaga, he's NBA bound. And Kobe was backing him up and posting him up, and he was flexing. I'm like, big Idaho, baby, give me some of them potatoes, you know what I'm saying? And so, but here's the thing. Back when I said that, and you guys made fun of me because I put the hat and I had my Letterman's jacket on, they were playing in this type of rhythm. But then Yoli's injury and so forth, but they were playing this rhythm. And I'm not going to say that it's going to be really hard for them to lose again. But the way that they're playing, you're like, oh, my gosh, what a big shot. But it's what they do. All of the tough shots and the big shots they made against Gonzaga are all within rhythm and shots that, all of us have seen TJ make, Jake make, Yoli make.
That's not just a one-off.
It's not. It's not just, kind of like, just throwing a Hail Mary. It's not. These are shots they're tough shots. Jake steps back from almost half court. These are shots that they make. And so it's great to see it, but again, you're not surprised, and that's why I said what I said, and I look really smart now.
Yes, you do. We're letting the leash out a little bit farther for you.
I won't run too far. Thank you.
So what I'm excited about, yet also aware about, is that BYU won't play in an environment like Saturday the rest of the season. So it's going to have to come from elsewhere, right? It kind of came to BYU senior night,
right?
Gonzaga, this is it, right? And BYU met the challenge. That was awesome. They're going to play at Pepperdine now, where they've got to win, right? And then likely a semifinal against St. Mary's that we talked about yesterday. That can't be overlooked. The home game, BYU was full bore and needed a last-second shot by TJ Haas. So there's some important games coming up.
And I agree with you 100%. I think this is the last game tomorrow. And again, I'm going to refrain from making predictions since last time I did something, you guys put me on timeout. So
listen, you have there's 6 a game? Let's go, man.
You know what? But my thing is, tomorrow is a very important game because it's the very next game on the schedule, but it's the very last game they played until they play a really formidable foe in St. Mary's at the WCC tournament. And so they need to be in rhythm because, let's be realistic, it's such a fun environment. We've known each other a little bit more than you and I have, Spence, but those games in Vegas were fun with the Mountain West Conference tournament and being in the MAC and the adrenaline, the energy, although it was mostly negative towards us, but it's still energy that you feel it. And BYU is not going to have another home crowd where they're going to have a lot of fans. In Vegas, they're going to have about 300, 400, 500 fans.
It's mostly Gonzaga. It really is.
But my point is, there will be some fans screaming BYU, but it's by no way, shape, or form is going to replicate what we had here on Saturday. So I think that game is important because even against St. Mary's, it's going to be a battle. And again, I think you said it perfectly. These teams are so evenly matched. And this is not a knock on BYU or just, props to St. Mary's, but at St. Mary's, it came down to the last shot pretty much, overtime. Here, it took TJ just taking over the game to win. So these teams, it's going to be a great matchup. And again, I don't think that it's, like Jay Billis said, it's not a if, it's a when. I'm going to have to shave my head because of these guys going to the NCAA tournament. But I do think that it cannot be overlooked because now you are playing for seeds. Obviously, you're playing for a championship, but you're also playing for a good seed in the tournament.
Your head's basically shaved now, right? What is that? What is that, a 2?
It's a 3.
It's a 3?
It's
We're just going down to a 1 there?
to a fade to a 3, yeah. So, but the beer is going to come off too, So, I don't.
There's the sacrifice?
Yeah, you know what I mean? When you really love a program and you believe in them, you really have the thing.
It's cool to see you've joined me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that I can't do the Tony Stark thing and kind of bring it back to TV, but you did say that these guys, I disagree. Things evolve, and I'm Jaron Jordan, and things evolve. And here you are not shaving your head if these guys go to the Sweet 16.
Listen. Some of us have been here for a few years, done that. You were getting buckets in Europe. I was sitting here shaving my head years ago.
Hey, you're not committed to BYU, and that's okay.
Yep, so, I'm not. Everyone knows that.
That's okay. That's all right.
JT, we're talking about energy in gyms, and we anticipate the BYU will have more fans than Pepperdine fans in Malibu just because the Cougars are ranked 17th.
No
the
doubt.
SoCal alumni chapter will show up. So there will be some energy there, but let's say BYU gets into a scenario where they don't have a ton of fans. How do they manufacture energy so that they can bring that type of game we saw against Gonzaga in critical moments?
Lamont Morgan never gets enough credit because Lamont was the guy that would go around and hype us up. And Lamont would come and, with the braids and the swag, slap people. You better watch out. Sorry, I don't mean to. It's okay.
Slight here.
If you be working out, okay.
No,
but anyway, Lamont would be like, "Hey, let's go and get ready," and slap people and getting excited, motivating, doing dances. We had handshakes, and it will take somebody to kind of get them hyped up. And to be honest, every time that we were ranked and we go on the road, you kind of have that kind of bit of the swag because you're like, "Hey, we ranked 17 in the country. These chumps don't deserve to be on the same floor as us." We would say that to each other, and we would get excited, right? Problem is, you not only gotta talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, and to get that energy. And again, Pepperdine is a solid team. It's gonna be a good game, but you can't overlook that. And it's a mental game. You know what I'm saying? It's something that you have to, instill in your mind and be like, I'm not playing against Pepperdine. I'm playing against Duke. And you just and it's a small gym. It looks like a high school auditorium. But you have to figure out a way mentally to kind of get through it.
Let's talk about where this team fits because you played on some tremendous teams that were really fun to watch. And you had a lot of good weapons, right? And you had dominant players and players of the year in the league and whatnot. Do you feel like this team is in the same ilk, or is this team better than some of the teams you played on in the late 2000s?
I would say that this team is deeper. Definitely, they have a longer rotation. I was thinking about that on the way here. Probably the deepest team that I was a part of was probably my senior year, 09, 010. First time in school history, we got 30 wins.
Win in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah,
Florida
but I think beyond that, because I think 30 wins is impressive. When you look at a resume of NCAA champions, they usually say high 20s, 30 wins. So that for me it's incredible. But we had Jimmer, Jackson, Tyler Haas, Noah Hartsock, Chris Miles, and then you had coming off the bench Lamont Morgan. You had Charles Abuo. You had
Lloyd.
You had me. You had Mike Lloyd. You had Brendan Davies. That's 10 deep.
That's pretty deep.
You know what I'm saying? And so when you compare that type of team to this one, I think that's a good comparison because Jimmer's senior year, it was give the ball to Jim, move out of the way, you teach us how to Jimmer, and you guys get some stops to get the ball to Jimmer. Obviously, jokes aside, that year, James Anderson came up big. Brennan Davies had a big year. Jackson.
Logan Magnuson. Steven Rogers.
Yeah. All of these guys had big key moments, just like these guys have.
Young Kyle Collinsworth, by the way.
But
Freshman.
it was never like 9, 10 guys, the way that these two teams I talked about. And so I think that's the biggest difference with this team. And if you look, just studying the notes, doing kind of the Greg Wrubell thing, in my career, I averaged about 28 wins and 7 losses a year. I mean, this team, you tweak certain things, and the whole suspension about, the NCAA, who is a very honest and a
law-abiding citizen.
A law-abiding organization. Yeah, and this team is right there. And so this team will always be remembered at BYU because obviously it's the Mark Pope first beginning of his era, but also because this team brought excitement back to BYU. It really did. I mean, people are talking about BYU nationwide now. And it brought back to what I truly believe, and we talked about this, this is the type of expectation BYU should have. Be ranked, be in a conversation, running from a conference tournament or a conference championship, and just trying to be there, to be able to being a household name.
JT, it's great to catch up with you, man. We know that you are sacrificing for the team pretty much on a daily basis.
What a sacrifice, going from a 3 to a 1.
You know what? I kind of like, you're laughing. Let me tell you another dumb Brazilian joke.
Yes.
How does the train drink and eat? Do you know? It goes chugga, chugga, choo, choo, baby. Awful. I know, but
I didn't learn that one on my mission.
There are a lot of things you didn't learn in your mission. I'm starting to wonder what Brazil did you go to?
Fé and batismo. Those are the words I had learned.
You get Surrender Cobra for that one.
Did you go to, yeah.
I went to Porto Alegre, dude. You know this.
Well,
so gaúcho.
Okay. And you know how to make barbecue then?
No, I just know how to eat it.
Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, I tried to teach him. Pretty good, right? You like that. Coming up.
I'm trying to say it was swag.
Dope or nope?
I know. I got.
Can I get that one again? I'm sorry.
Right.
I got
one more time.
Rio de Janeiro. Let's go, man. No shame. No shame.
Wow. Hey.